I mixed this up with the Velveteen Rabbit, so I bought the wrong book to begin with.
And here's a question for everybody. Who's your favorite character? Goodness gracious, there's just a panoply of characters that are all so lovable.
We have a very special guest. I would venture maybe the most special guest we have ever had on the podcast. It is our dad, Evan Cornell. Dad, welcome to the podcast.
Let's go beyond the first page. Let's go beyond the first page.
Welcome back, second pagers. This is Beyond the First Page podcast with siblings Phoebe, Phil, and Isaac. I'm Phoebe.
I'm Phil.
I'm Isaac.
And this is Club Meeting 51, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane by Kate Dicamillo. And we have a very special guest. I would venture maybe the most special guest we have ever had on the podcast. It is our dad, Evan Cornell. Dad, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for thinking of me. This is exciting.
We invited you on for a couple of reasons. The first is you are an elementary school librarian, and we wanted to we actually got to talk to another educator earlier this season, which was awesome. So we're excited to talk to you to get your take on a lot of different literary things. But we also want to talk to you because I think that you gave us a love of reading and a love of a story. So I wanted to open up the podcast today with what your favorite story is that Dad tells. It could be a book or it could just be a story he's embellished along the way. And Isaac, I'll turn it over to you first.
Yeah, mine that I thought of immediately, and then when Phoebe brought this up, I texted to claim it, is the George Washington and the Cherry Tree little short story. And quickly it just goes, a dad calls his three kids and lines them up and is like, all right, guys, I want to tell you this story about George Washington, the founder of our nation. He chopped down this cherry tree when he was a little kid, and his dad found this cherry tree chopped down, and he calls in. He says, George, did you chop it? And George Washington says, I can't tell a lie, Dad. I did chop the cherry tree down. So the dad telling this to his kids says, and he grew up to be the founder of our nation. So now I need to ask all three of you a question. Who pushed the outhouse over the hill? And the oldest sibling goes, Dad, I can't tell a lie. I didn't push the outhouse over the hill. The middle sibling, Dad, I can't tell a lie. I didn't push the outhouse over the hill. And then the third sibling is sitting there and he's kind of trembling and shaking back and forth. And the dad says, did you push the outhouse over the hill? And the youngest sibling says, Dad, I can't tell a lie. I did push the outhouse over the hill. And the dad starts yelling at him and smacking him upside the head. And the little kid is like, Dad, what about George Washington? And the dad goes, George Washington's dad wasn't in the cherry tree.
I had completely forgotten that, and I had called a different story because I thought for sure Isaac would tell the one that I wanted, but that's such a good one. And then Phil,
I told that story a week ago to someone. I can't remember who it was, but it's a good one.
Phil, what was yours?
Yeah, well, I like the story of Dad and Jimmy running home from the party and then climbing into the tennis courts. But I'll tell the story of Huey, Dewey, and Louie, where they're three men who I think Dad just made this up because there's no way anybody made a library joke. And so basically it's just about a guy who I think he's bit by a snake or something, and someone needs to find a book real fast, and Huey organizes the books by color, Louie organizes the books by size, and they can't find it, but then Dewey orders the books by what they're about, and so they can find the book and save the guy.
I told that one 2 weeks ago. I still use that. Because they did at one time organize books by color and by size, but the more and more you got, it just didn't work anymore.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know that I remember that one, Phil. That's a really good one.
You must have come to school with me one day, Phil.
Maybe. I think you told one of my
I've been
friends
using
it
that
while
word.
we were all waiting for Phoebe to go into basketball practice or something.
Yeah, or a car ride somewhere.
Yeah.
You and I.
Mine is the Sally Bally. And you probably also recently told that story, Dad, because it's a kind of a scary story about kids getting chased around. And so, yeah, if you haven't heard of the Sally Bally, I don't know, if you have a little kid, maybe don't read it. But it's a good campfire story. And it's actually a book, or it's a written down somewhere too, right?
It's a scary storybook
Yeah.
that we used to listen to in the car.
But it's different than the the Mo and with the dogs.
Wham Slam,
Jam.
Jenny Mo
Yeah,
Jam.
it's different than.
I think it's in
Yeah.
that book. I
Jenny Mo
read that
Jam,
to third
yeah.
grade.
Yeah.
Wham Slam,
Yeah.
Jenny Mo Jam. Yeah, it's a good one.
What's
too.
your favorite story to tell, Dad?
When you asked that question, I was first going to tell a story about Jimmy finding his parents.
Oh, yeah. That's crazy.
I do like the, I didn't, you want like a tale.
Just whatever story you like to tell.
I do like those ones. So many of the books that I do, I don't read them anymore. I can tell the story as we're going along. And that Wham Slam, Jenny Mo Jam, I like that one. The Tally Poo is another one I like to tell.
The Tally,
Because we did that around the campfire. And the hobby house with the 5 dogs.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
So those stories. I'm trying to think of a good family story that we have. And, we have some good family stories with my grandparents. My grandfather's father ran away with the minister's wife. And then his mom married the minister. And I was just thinking of that one the other day because he was the minister in Pucanico Hills where the Rockefellers live. And it was this church for the Rockefellers. So my grandfather grew up with the Rockefellers.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
Yeah. So little stories like that. And when we hear things about the Jonathan Cornell being tried for murdering his mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We heard that on a podcast.
That's like Thomas Cornell's son. Or
Tom, he may have been Thomas, but it's our relative got convicted of burning his mother to death on the evidence that her brother had a dream.
I didn't even know. I didn't know that you learned that.
They hung him.
I didn't know that you learned that because Thomas Cornell is like the one that came over on the Mayflower, and that's on his Wikipedia page. That's like that was a big like Salem witch trial type thing. He was like one of the most famous witch trials. I mean,
it
it
was
made
on a
Wikipedia
podcast one time. And I was listening, and I was like, I've heard this story before. And then lo and behold, I was like, yeah, I can't remember how. It might be one generation
down
back from it's 1600s in Boston though.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I do that for tales with my 6th graders. So a lot of these stories that are coming up, and we do it for fake news or when we're discussing that type of thing, I bring up that you got to be careful what you accuse someone of. So I do like the Moth Hour. There's some good stories. The ones you guys were telling were sort of jokes.
Yeah, but oldies but goodies. Isaac, another oldie but goodie that we have decided to read that Dad, I think you read with your kids every year, is this book that we read for the podcast, Edward Tulane, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. And before we start talking about it, Isaac, would you just tell us about Edward Tulane in 15 seconds?
Edward Tulane is a China rabbit doll, and he is pretty full of himself. But he is loved by this little girl, Abilene, and she takes him on a trip. He falls into the ocean when they're crossing, and then he is found and lost multiple times throughout the story. Each time he's lost and found, he realizes the love that his like caretaker or owner has for him, and he slowly learns to love himself from these experiences.
Yeah, very nice. That was great. I want to share before we start talking, because I do have a question off the bat, Phil's Goodreads, because it made me tear up a little bit to read it. And I thought it was really cute that he wrote this. He said, "My goodness, I love this. So warm. We'll read this to my kids. Scratch that. Can't wait to read this to my kids." I thought that was so cute. And yeah. So I wanted to share that and thank Dad for picking this book because he recommended it. We had wanted to have him on. But I really wanted to ask you, Dad, why you read this year after year to the kids.
Well, they enjoy it, which is one thing. I used to read it at the beginning of the year and do an activity with it and do activities. This is to third grade. So I used to stretch it out. And then I just found it was a little bit more difficult and I had a hard time tracking which class I'd read it to. So now I just read it basically after Christmas. I start reading it and read it straight through each week. I'll see a class once a week for 4 weeks so I can get it done in about a semester. And they enjoy it and we get to play, build off of it. And I just love the book every time I read it. And it's one of those things that I don't remember. Sometimes I'll be thinking of something else while I'm reading it, but I can go on. The kids don't realize it because I have read it so many times. I've read it 5 times for 15 years, every year. But almost every time I read this book, I hear another little thing she's putting in there. Just a line here or there. I don't think there's any...
There's no waste.
She didn't waste a word.
Yeah.
She didn't waste she just, boom. I think it's a perfect book. It's got a little bit of mystery and the kids love it. Even when I just read the first 2 chapters, which is about his life, his boring life sitting there waiting. They're like, oh, they want to go on. And each chapter's a good, she got a cliffhanger at each end of each chapter.
Yeah, that's a good point about the way she ends each chapter as a cliffhanger. And it lends.
Well, the author should always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And another reason I do like it, it's short chapters. I've always tried other books and I can't, first of all, I don't have time, but if I can do 5-10 minutes of class, I can't read a 40-minute. Kids won't sit still for it. And I don't have the time in my classroom.
Yeah.
It's actually interesting because I think it's not the first children's book we've read. I think it's maybe the youngest one, but it follows the theme of the other ones that we've read. So The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe and All the Impossible Creatures. And I think it is different than those, though. Like, yes, you can read those as adults and get something over, but something that struck Isaac and I know, and Phoebe too, is that those were action-packed and just something had to constantly be happening. For some reason, I did not feel that in this one. Yes, it was quick, but it was not, I did not feel rushed through it. I felt that there was like, I could have zoned out and zoned back in and been like, okay. Whereas I just remember with the Impossible Creatures one, I did that a couple times and I was like, where are they? They're on a different island. Like I have no idea what's happening just because the kids have to be entertained in every single sort of step of the way. For some reason, I felt that this was not that way. But looking back, obviously it's a 2-hour book and Edward goes and lives with 4 different families. So something is happening very quickly. But for some reason, I thought the pacing was different. But I don't know. I could have been wrong on that.
No, I felt the same way.
Do you think it was the short chapters and the cliffhanger at each chapter? Like that was something that I didn't really think about. But Dad pointing it out, I think that held your attention. But it also moved it along.
Could have been that. Yeah.
He's only with each group for about 3 chapters at the most.
Yeah.
I mean, Bully's with for 2 chapters.
Yeah.
And then the third transition, he gets kicked.
Well, I think too, this is like a younger. So like this is, if you read this to 3rd grade, our third graders are like 7, 8.
Yeah, 7, 8.
So like, are they expected to be able to also be able to read this or no? They have to have it be read to them.
I have kids asked to read it. Some of them can,
But it's like for
the ability of the students. Some of them, and it's different classes, the way we group our kids. Some of them, when I read the end, because the end comes fast, they get it immediately. They're like, because she doesn't come, and that's what I love about the book too. She doesn't tell you what's happening. She doesn't tell you if he's being resurrected, if what's actually happening. You have to piece it all together. It's not saying the fisherman's wife, Nellie, watched her son die, and it was the saddest thing she'd ever seen. And Edward had to go through that. And you guys listened?
Yeah.
I listened and read.
So the description of him as the scarecrow, he's being crucified.
Yeah.
Did you see that in the book?
I didn't see that part. I didn't read that part.
Well, I'll ask kids on that. And usually it's around Easter time that I'm finishing it. I always try to finish the book at Valentine's Day, because I think the book is about love. The book is about love. But when I show them this picture, the description, and the illustrator takes a little bit of
liberty
with this picture.
Yeah.
When I show that to the kids and the time of day that it's occurring, was he a Jesus Christ type figure? Or I don't think he was, but he was in a way resurrected. But it's kind of interesting that she makes you think. She doesn't tell you what happens in the book.
Yeah.
And if you don't come right out and say, he's met the girl he saw at the beginning of the book, some of them are, don't get it. They're like, it's Abilene or it's her daughter, or she's the little girl.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That they like, as an adult, you're obviously understanding that, but as kids, they're working through that.
Some of them don't get it. Some of them get it immediately, and they're like, "Oh, is there a sequel?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, she pretty much got it done there." So, but all of her books are good, and I don't believe she's ever written a bad book.
That's so funny because just this week, actually, Marianne was reading R.F. Kuang's new book, Catabasis. And I personally don't like R.F. Kuang because it seems that by the end of every book, like she's just on a political tirade. And Marianne was trying to sort of piece that, like what I was saying, with why she didn't like it. And she realized that it is because she over-explains everything. Like it's like reading a YA novel where you're just like, you can't get the point without the point being explained to you. And there was one section where she got like the point, and then R.F. Kuang had to come out and say it. So by the time that like she comes out and says all her points, she's lost the plot, and that's how I feel. But then Marianne sent me a quote on Jeffrey Eugenides, who won the Pulitzer, and we were both reading a book that he read. But he says, I tell my students that when you write, you should pretend you're writing the best letter you ever wrote to the smartest friend you have. That way, you'll never dumb things down. You won't have to explain things that don't need explaining. You'll assume an intimacy and a natural shorthand, which is good because readers are smart and don't wish to be condescended to. And I think that is like exactly what Kate Dicamillo did with this book. Like even with your audience, Dad, obviously we got the Abilene had come back, but I think that I probably missed this resurrection subplot.
Yeah, I did.
And I think that's why you can read the book for 25 years, 5 times a year and get something new out of it. And that's pretty special.
Just little lines where he's learning about love, about how important it
but
is.
that's why I think she's not like trying to be coy about it either. She doesn't shy away from it,
No.
which I think that's why I asked like, how old are they and do they read it themselves? Like just because this is intended for a 7 to 8 year old, you can't hide it from them either.
Right.
So I think that was very well done. I don't actually really know if I'd read this or if we had read it. It was like a really long time ago. I mixed this up with the Velveteen Rabbit, so I like bought the wrong book to begin with.
Which rabbit did you put on my belt?
The Velveteen Rabbit. Yeah. So I think
she's called Edward Tulane for the past years.
I thought Edward Tulane was the Velveteen Rabbit. Yeah.
Right. Well, I have Bugs Bunny hanging up, and I have him when I'm.
No one really knows what a China rabbit is.
No, they don't know. They don't know. But they do draw pictures, and that's another thing I like to. And that was the book that I had. This was one of my 5th graders. Now I asked him to redraw the cover of the book.
That's
So
good.
she had asked me today
That is good.
if she could have the cover. And I said, I guess you can have the cover. She said, no, I want the book too. And I was like, well, we'll see about that.
It's a library.
We do a number of activities.
In this
They
economy?
do cards. Yeah. They do I have like 12 copies of that in the library. I don't know why. I think because I got so turned
Yeah.
on to it. A good story is the story within the story about the princess.
Yeah.
That the
That
grandmother
one is
tells.
But see,
good.
like
I
that-
love
Yeah.
fairy tales
Like that
within a
comes,
tale.
she comes out and says there's no point in story if there's no love. So like that's
Right.
pretty
She
on
says,
the nose.
How
Yeah.
can a story end happily without love? So that's the.
Well,
Yeah.
she's like, what's the
And then
point of
she
everything?
whispers.
What's the point of everything without love? I think is the final in the
Correct.
coda. Yeah.
And she whispers in his
I'm
ears,
disappointed.
"You disappoint
Yeah.
me."
Yeah, she was scary. So was it based in America? That was the one thing I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
The South,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
You're not quite sure the time period, and you're not quite sure the location, except for Memphis. It ends in Memphis.
Okay, right.
Because he dances on the
On the
streets of
streets.
Memphis. But I mean, yeah, anywhere in North America, just because they have to sail across the Atlantic to get to England.
Well, on the Queen Mary too, because it doesn't say the date when it occurs. So the Queen Mary is mentioned, and they do have electricity because he's vacuumed up. And I've had the kids. I've done different things with it. The kids have changed over the time, but I used to have them try to figure out when it took place.
And here's a question for everybody. Who's your favorite character? Goodness gracious, there's just a panoply of characters that are all so lovable. Like every person that picks up Edward is just so great.
Yeah.
I think Bull is mine.
Yeah, that's mine too.
I mean-
Bull,
Bull.
What was
yeah.
yours, Dad?
Lucius Clark, Dollmender. Hello, my lovelies.
Good Halloween costume.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Excuse me, madam. A very precious, very expensive doll.
Mine was the grandma. I liked her. She was intense, but she was good.
Pellegrina.
Yeah. I like that name too, Pellegrina. It's cool. I thought maybe
Tonight
they
there'll
were
be a
in
story.
France because she was French.
I thought they were in New
She's
Orleans.
French. She's from
because she
France.
was French.
Mm.
Oh, could be New Orleans. I
That
thought
makes
they
more
were in
sense.
Canada because she was French.
Well,
I thought they were in
I'm
Montreal.
pretty sure Kate
Mm.
Dicamillo writes about Southern.
What was her name?
Whatever.
That's
her
what.
name is.
That's what
Kate
I.
Dicamillo.
That's what Dad says is to Chico.
I just call her Kate.
But the
Well,
Tale of Desperos also so good.
Yeah, that was
That
my
one is
recommendation.
phenomenal.
Well,
and that's in Europe.
yeah.
Winn-Dixie,
Well, I didn't realize
Isaac.
she wrote all those.
Tiger Rising.
Yeah.
She has a series of picture books now as well, and other stories. I have a Christmas book I read by her called Great Joy.
Mm.
A short one again. It doesn't tell you much, but it takes up a whole class period to talk about it and share it.
Yeah. I had a quote I wanted to share with you guys. This was my favorite quote of the book, and I wanted to talk about I know the message is love, but if you got a different message too, because as you said, Dad, you kind of get something different every time you read it. But this was the old doll he meets at the doll store says, "You must be filled with expectancy. You must awash in joy. You must wonder who will love you, whom you will love next." And I think it's like an exciting thing of life. Like you don't know all the people you'll love in your life yet. And you should be constantly like expecting something new and exciting to come. And I really liked that quote, but I got a little bit different of a message. I kind of thought Edward needed to be lent some perspective, and spending some time on the ocean floor really made him appreciate life and people more. So I thought it was like a message of the grass is not always greener kind of thing, like appreciate what you have in the moment. And that's kind of what I took from the book. And I'm curious if you guys got anything else from it other than the message of overall of love and loving people.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny because Isaac recommended Tuesdays with Maury for the podcast, and I think I get more out of this than I did Tuesdays with Morrie, which was just almost a self-help, appreciate life book. I mean, there was no nuance in Tuesdays with Morrie. He was learning from Morrie. And this to me just hits me much, much harder. And I think that this like appreciation and sort of wonderment that you're getting, Phoebe, is also sort of what I'm getting a little bit more than just, I think love is everything is very trite, but I mean, gimmicks are gimmicks for a reason, I guess. Love is everything. And I think that this really shows you that in a short book. So
Phoebe, I have the same quote highlighted in my copy. Actually, that's your quote right there. So I had highlighted that
cute.
when I shared this. It's a library book. I wrote in it. I can do that. It's also overdue. When I shared this with a friend, I gave it to her because she was going through a hard time. I told her to read the book. I thought she'd like it, and I highlighted it. But you must be awashed in hope. So I love that. I love that quote. And it's really the fact that he gets his heart's growing bigger and bigger because he's listening, because he can't talk. And so that's sort of, and I always share that with the kids. You get to page 186 and your character finally can talk because he's with other dolls. But he thought something got in his ears, but he listens to Nellie like the stories are the most important thing in the world. And then the tramps are whisper names of the ones they miss in the ears, which is
that was my favorite part.
And they don't know why, they just do it. And then, so there's a bunch of little lines, but I think it really shows me the importance of listening, that you have to be. And he talks about love a lot. And he's like, yes, Abilene did love me. Everybody loved me. And everybody loved me. But he's never loved anyone until he finally had to sit through suffering through Sarah Ruth dying. He wanted to do more for her.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. It was not that, like, it's obviously loved theme, but it's like you have to love back. Like, it's very easy to be loved, but you have to,
and it hurts,
love back. Yeah,
it's a two-way street.
And the listening,
and then the dream chapter, or when he gets his head cracked by Mel. That's one of my favorite scenes when reading that one, because I act it all out. And actually, your mom had a really good spatula that I used, and then I whacked it on the counter and it broke. I was like, it's like, whatever happened to that? A big spatula? I don't know. One of the kids must have taken it. I think he left it in cousin's. But the dream sequence that he has, for either he's going to heaven, he's an angel. That's the one I have the kids read as a play, So they act it out.
All the different characters coming back.
Well, all the characters that loved him. Some people like, where's the grandma? Grandma didn't love him.
Yeah, true. This was a 5 out of 5 for me. I'm kind of surprised. We have a document, Dad, that
I thought it was out of 3.
It used to be. You got to catch up on listening, Dad. It used to be
How long ago?
A while.
Was it? Last year.
I just do the parts where you're talking about things, seeing if you're talking about me.
You do get mentioned. It's out of 5.
No, I don't want to listen to him if I haven't read the book.
Yeah.
So.
It's out of 5, though, Dad. 5 is our scoring. So it's a 5 out of 5 for me. I liked this better than The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, actually. So there's that, and that's a real classic.
I'd forgotten how much I like this book. I actually don't think I realized how much I like this book until I read it. It was a 5 for me as well.
Ooh, Phil.
Wow, that's big coming from Phil.
Yeah, it is.
I know.
He's cracked.
It's because I'm here.
I gave Katie's a 1, I think.
Yeah.
What did you give 1?
Or Noel's.
Yeah, if he doesn't like it, he'll tell you.
Okay.
I did a 4. I liked it a lot. when I found out that this was the same author that wrote Because of Winn-Dixie, though, like I think I liked Because of Winn-Dixie more.
Fair.
So, which I don't know if that's the correct way to do the scaling, but I think I agree with everything that we said about the there's no wasted space and she does make you think, but I thought it was a little bit more on the nose than it seems like you guys do, maybe, which I think is fine for like an 8-year-old book. And I enjoyed reading it, but I just know I like Because of Winn-Dixie more, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Totally
makes
fair.
sense. Dad, what would it be for you?
I think it's a 5. I think Isaac prompted me on this. I think it's my top 3 books ever.
Wow.
Nice.
Up there with Curious George and
The Road.
The
To Kill a
Road.
Mockingbird.
I thought it was going to be The Road, too.
The Road?
Yeah, by Cormac McArthur.
McCarthy.
I read that.
We know. We remember.
Oh, you have to listen to it with me. His get a little long-winded. You guys haven't done. I think what's the horse? All the Pretty Horses has been one of my favorites.
That's mine too.
I wrote in that one too.
You have that?
It wasn't.
I was going to say,
no.
was that in your library?
No, it was at Pitt Greensburg.
I would recommend, if you like this book, The Tale of Despero, which had already been mentioned also by the same author. But if you're an adult and you want an adventure that has a similar, like, melancholy, maybe isn't the right word to describe it, but a similar vibe, a similar feel as you're reading it, I would recommend The Lincoln Highway by Immortals, who I've talked about on the podcast a lot. It's a really good book if you haven't read it. So those would be my recommendations. Isaac, what about you?
Yeah, so I said it Because of Winn-Dixie. And Dad, maybe you can remember when or like how old I was when I read this, but I would guess it's around that time of like 7, 8, or 9. But this was the first book I distinctly remember feeling something after I read it. Yeah.
Winn-Dixie.
So really good. Also by the same author.
Yeah. Phil.
Yeah, I'm going to take a page out of Phoebe's book and do 2. The Giver by Lois Lowry. And then for a newer one that people might not have read, The House of the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune is really, really good. And same sort of vibes. So,
As this book?
it's a lot about a love and
As
appreciation.
Edward Tulane?
Yeah.
I like that book, but I don't know if I got that same vibe.
The Giver or The House of the Cerulean Sea?
House by the Sea.
Yeah.
That was the one with the strange creatures, right? All the kids.
Yeah.
The guy got sent there. Yeah. I forgot about this part of the podcast. I can go back, and if you want to sit with someone and read them, and the other book that I've still done, and Isaac or Philip, I believe I got this from your second grade teacher, the My Father's Dragon.
That's a great one.
Which is one the kids, I always want to move up from it, but the kids always like it. And I've got activities that I do with that, with the kids tricking the animals. And then we do activities. I teach them how to tie knots. We do lollipops. I give them lollipops and give them special gum that if they chew it long enough, it turns green. And they still do it. All I do is take a package of Dentyne and write special gum. They go for it. Oh, and I give them toothbrushes too. So it's kind of fun that way. Her book also, again, if you want to read to it, that Greatest Joy is a wonderful story it's a wonderful Christmas story. And of course I read it and there's a pageant in it, but it isn't religious. So I do have a lot of kids who don't celebrate holidays or don't celebrate the holiday of Christmas, but the message behind is the same for anyone. And it's a short one.
I'll have to read that. I haven't heard of that or read it, Dad. That's a good one.
Greatest Joy. It's a picture
Okay,
book.
nice.
Yeah, 32 pages.
Nice.
Just in regards to the podcast, I remember Phil you guys at the end of last year said how many books you read and stuff. So my resolution was try to do more books. And I really have gotten back into reading because you guys were doing this. You know, we always read, but not literature. We're reading constantly. And I'm up to about 50 books this year. So that was all thanks to you guys.
Dad.
And I can't do 2 at a time like you guys do. And I also don't like to go fast, but I found some new authors. I read some old stuff, read stuff that I would have never read before, like that House on the Sea. That's just in the past wasn't my type of book. Were like Michael Connelly and stuff. And I've got all my Libby accounts. I just got, can we say it over the air?
You can say it. No one's listening.
Philadelphia, guys, those cards you can get. Philadelphia and the books I was waiting for was boom right there.
I think that's a good plug too for people who are trying to get access to books that you can apply for Libby. You don't have to be in the same place.
Well, as long as we're supporting them too, because you remember they're getting gouged.
The libraries. Yeah.
I think promoting books is what we're doing here. So
yeah, for sure.
Well, Dad, you're
free
a success story for the podcast then. Reading different stuff, reading more. That's great.
And as a librarian too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like
spending more of my downtime reading as opposed
watching
to
YouTube,
listening to music or listening to radios.
Watching Family Guy.
Browsing Craigslist.
But
I forgot about the Family Guy.
The thing that they are doing, both mom and dad do this, they don't believe in headphones. So they're listening to their books out loud, just like around the house.
No, Isaac gave me my speaker.
Oh, you're amplifying.
He can drown out mom's
I know.
And the headphones.
I know for a fact.
So I was mowing the lawn one time and all of a sudden listening to a book and all of a sudden it started to break up and I was like, uh-oh. So my phone had fallen out of my pocket. So that was good to know that I was driving away from my phone.
Before you hit it with your lawnmower. Yeah.
And my book was going in the car with the car turned off at Roseanne's house and my battery died.
Well, Dad, I liked your Christmas recommendation because we are also going to read a Christmassy seasonal book next. It's by Claire Keegan. We read Foster by her last year for the podcast. This one's called Small Things Like These. And before we go, Isaac, would you just tell us briefly about that?
Small Things Like These is a novella set in 1985 Ireland during the busy Christmas season. And the story is about coal merchant Bill Furlong and explores themes of quiet heroism, conscience, and the moral courage to act against institutional justice.
Very excited to read this. Claire Keegan's great, and she writes a short story, so it'll be nice too. It's a quick read. Hopefully our listeners enjoy it. And this is your bi-weekly reminder to call someone that you love, tell them that you love them, tell them to read The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. And until we talk again, stay classy, second pagers. And Dad, thanks so much for being on the podcast.
No, thanks for having me. I'm proud of you three for all the things you did.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks, Dad.
Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Let's go beyond the first page.